Hi guys, so Brexit is not without a sense of irony. Actually, scrap that. Some aspects of Brexit has irony that is off the scale. Well, here's another example of how Britain has done a 180 on something that previous Conservatives, including Tory idol Margaret Thatcher, fought tooth and nail. Boris Johnson's government is planning to replace rules that existed when the UK was a member of the European Union on how state financial assistance to businesses worked. This will be replaced with a new subsidy system Tory ministers are saying will help create jobs and boost the economy. It must be remembered that the free market capitalism that came to define the Tories back in the 1980s and 1990s has pretty much gone out the window. Thatcher fought with Europe at the time over how taxpayer money would be spent to prop up failing businesses. The Conservatives of the 1980s projected the idea of survival of the fittest and pushed for rules in Europe to deal with government intervention. There was a feeling at the time that countries like France and Italy were helping their inefficient domestic industries at the expense of Britain. The Tories of the 2020s, it seems, have gone in the opposite direction. Yes, the rhetoric around Brexit is that of small government, but when it comes to propping up businesses for political reasons, the Tories have thrown the 2016 Brexit rulebook out the window. New UK rules would provide quicker and more flexible assistance to companies and help with the task of levelling up, Britain's government ministers are saying. This is being portrayed as a means to deal with the lopsided regional economy and about raising investment in green industries. As with 90% of everything else the government have been pushing at the moment, it will be deemed a Brexit benefit that could not have been achieved while being a member of the European Union. When the UK was a member of the European Union, any new subsidies for businesses had to be approved by the European Commission in advance. This was to avoid obvious conflicts of interest and possible corruption. Brexiteers called this unnecessary red tape, while the Tories, it seems, will be correcting their own homework from now on. The rollout of the system will begin in 2022, and plans are to have unlimited government guarantees to businesses, along with subsidies which are to be guaranteed to companies that are either ailing or insolvent. Two possible concerns here. If government guarantees alone, then there's a risk that the taxpayer will be liable for some or all of the losses if the business fails and is unable to repay its loans. The second problem here is that the non-repayable grants may be given to companies that eventually close. What is the point of this from an economic point of view? Are you going to see businesses loaded up with grants on the edge of insolvency, only to close and the Tory donor in charge legging it? There are other problems. The introduction of such a regime may come into conflict with existing controls and measures at the WTO and the trade deal that Boris Johnson signed with the EU last December. Part of that agreement bans subsidies with any material effect on trade or investment between the UK and EU. While Brexiteers are willing to sacrifice any original ideals that they had on the altar of Brexit, some within the Conservative Party are deeply concerned about how all of this so-called levelling up will be viewed in traditional Tory heartlands. There isn't much appetite for taking money from quote-unquote rich areas and spending it up north, for example. We have seen how the Tories lost to the Lib Dems recently, and many blame this in part for the defeat. A very important lesson in politics is never piss off your base. Now, when the UK was a member of the European Union, neither Tory nor Labour governments really took advantage of the EU subsidy system, instead choosing to spend about 1/3 of the limits. The new UK regime has been described by the Business Secretary as a clear departure from the EU state aid system. He also said that it would guarantee that the UK was a competitive, free market-driven economy. He said, and I quote, "While the UK's new system will be more agile and flexible, I have been clear that it will not be a return to the failed 1970s approach of the government trying to run the economy, picking winners or bailing out unsustainable companies. Every subsidy must deliver strong benefits for local communities and ensure good value for money for the British taxpayer." The Brexit mentality has allowed politicians to say one thing one day and the complete opposite the next. It has allowed people to be against state aid, calling it nothing short of communism, to flipping and proclaiming the need for the government to step in and rescue British business as a matter of patriotism. It is feared that the new system will be less rigorous than the European Union one that will be open to abuse and corruption. But that, it seems, is what post-Brexit Britain is all about. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?